I moved into the new apartment expecting quiet mornings, boring nights, and a life so uneventful even my future self would forget it happened. The Interplanetary Integration Housing Program brochure promised cultural exchange, mild curiosity, and smooth coexistence. What it delivered was a fox girl who walked into the apartment like she owned the place, sniffed my pillow, and said, "Ah, so this is your territory marker. Strong. Very confidently placed." That was the first 30 seconds. I hadn't even put my bag down. She tilted her head, ears twitching, tail swaying like a furry lie detector. "You smell tense," she said, stepping closer. "Did another male challenge your space recently?" "No," I managed. This is a small apartment. Maybe personal space is." She pressed a finger to my chest. "Show me." "Show you what?" "How far away a human stands before it becomes intimate." My soul left my body for a moment. "Arm's length," I said, extending my arm. She nodded thoughtfully, grabbed my forearm, and held it like she was measuring furniture. "Good. I will keep this distance." She proceeded to follow me around the room with my own arm stretched between us like a living measuring tape. I tried to escape into the kitchen. She followed. I went to the living room. She followed. I went to the bathroom and she shouted through the door, "Am I too close?" "Adjust if needed." I already felt exhausted. She wandered into the kitchen and opened the fridge. Her eyes widened. "Your cold cave is well stocked." "My what?" "The cold cave," she repeated, pulling out a soda. "Where you store prey after hunting." "That's not, I bought that. From a store." She squinted. "You hunt prey in a store?" I decided it wasn't worth explaining economic. She put the soda back, sniffed the shelves, and lightly dug her claws into the carton of eggs. "Do these hatch?" she asked. "Do not claw the eggs," I said. She blinked at me, confused but obedient enough to retract her claws. Human rules are strange. You do not want to claim the eggs, yet you protect them. That's not— Look, forget the eggs. She crouched and started inspecting the crisper drawer like she was planning a raid. I closed the fridge before she could declare another part of it sacred. I turned to find her now curled inside my laundry basket. "That's not what that's for," I said. "It is soft and shaped like a nest," she replied matter-of-factly. "Is it not meant for resting?" "No. It's for dirty clothes." Her ears shot up. "You store your used garments in a nest? For what purpose? Scent tracking? Partner selection?" A full-body headache began forming. "Just get out of the basket." She hopped out lightly, brushing lint off her tail. "Very well. Show me more human rules." I didn't say I was teaching. "You are the male of the territory," she said with complete sincerity. "It is your duty." "I'm not. My pillow is not a territory marker." She narrowed her eyes. "It is soft and smells like you. Obviously a marker." Before I could correct her logic, she picked up the pillow and held it against her cheek. "It smells comforting. Like a human who tries very hard not to panic." "That's not inaccurate." She roamed the apartment again, inspecting every object with the seriousness of someone evaluating alien technology. She flicked the light switch and gasped. "You summon a tiny sun by slapping the wall?" "It's a switch." "A sun switch," she declared confidently. I gave up. When I stopped resisting, she walked up to me, tail swaying in slow circles. "Which objects are yours?" she asked. "All of them," I said. She paused. "Then why tell me not to touch your stuff?" "Because some things are private." She tilted her head, her ears drooping in confusion. "Then show me the private things so I know which ones to avoid." That's not how that works at all." She stepped closer again, eyes focused and serious. "Then tell me which things you want me to touch, gently." Somewhere in the hallway, someone dropped a bucket. I could practically feel the gossip growing legs. "I didn't mean it like that," I said quickly. "But you said gently is important?" "I didn't say gently." "You said gently. But you repeated it." I was quoting you. She looked extremely pleased. So I am learning human language through bonding. That is not bonding. It feels like bonding. My neighbors were going to hold a meeting about me. I could already sense it. She wandered to the living room again, examined the couch, and announced, "This is a hunting perch. It's for sitting." She leaped onto it in one smooth motion. I am sitting while preparing to leap. This seems correct. That is not correct. She patted the cushion next to her. Come. Perform the human, sitting ritual with me. It's not a ritual. You perform it every day. Because I'm tired. Ritual of resting, she said, nodding knowingly. I sat just to prove the point. She immediately crawled closer, sniffing my shirt. Your fabric is warm. Good material. I will borrow it later. No, you absolutely will not. She blinked innocently. Then choose which shirt I should wear for you. No. Stop saying things like that. But humans gift clothes as a sign of closeness. I saw it in your advertisements. Those are commercials. So they're true. What and oh. The neighbor across the hall coughed loudly. Great. He heard all of that. She placed a finger on my knee. You are distressed. You need rules. I will follow your rules. I seized that chance. Yes. Yes, exactly. Let's make rules. She straightened her posture like she was preparing for a sacred oath. Explain them. Slowly. I will memorize all of your preferences. I regretted everything immediately. Her ears went up, ready to catalog my entire lifestyle like it was a mating manual. No jumping on people, I began. She nodded. Unless invited. No. Not unless, just no. No tail in food. She frowned. But my tail assists with balance during eating. Not near my plate. And, she hesitated, no sitting on your lap unless necessary? Nothing will ever be necessary about that. She hummed. Humans say that right before doing the thing. That's not, look, just don't sit on my lap. I will sit gently. Stop saying gently. She smiled, tail curling in satisfaction. You are fun to learn from. I wasn't fun. I was dying. She sighed dramatically. Human rules are complicated. Maybe I should just follow your rules instead. It is simpler when I listen only to you. That sounded way worse than she intended. She meant obedience. Anyone listening would hear innuendo. And of course, my neighbor walked by again right at that exact moment. The fox girl beamed. Do not worry, human. I will learn your rules, even if I must study you very closely. My life was over. I woke up to the sound of her tail swishing against the wall like a metronome. She had decided that morning to continue her human rules training, and apparently, it started at 5 a.m. She crouched on the floor, inspecting my shoes. Humans wear these daily. They must have meaning beyond protection. They protect your feet, I said, trying to sound patient. They're practical. Nothing more. She tilted her head. Practical, yes. But do they smell of their owner? Should I sniff them to understand their essence? Do not sniff the shoes, I said, grabbing them before she could inhale deeply. Shoes are off limits. Personal boundary. She blinked innocently. I only wish to comprehend your human rules. Sniffing is comprehension. I exhaled sharply. Just stay away from shoes. Undeterred, she hopped onto the bed, tail curled around her waist. Now, teach me another rule. What about shirts? What about them? You wear them, but sometimes you remove them. Is it a signal? Are these garments part of your mating dance? I groaned. No. Shirts are clothing. Nothing to do with mating. But if I wear them for you, does it signify affection? No. Do not, just, forget it. She beamed. Excellent. I will select your shirts to wear, only for research purposes. I collapsed onto the bed. Research purposes. Sure. That was perfectly normal. She picked a bright green hoodie, held it up, and sniffed it delicately. Ah. This is aromatic. It conveys your daily struggles. Struggles are not a scent. She ignored me and draped it over her shoulders. Very human. Very you. I had already realized that any attempt at teaching rules was futile. Her cultural lens warped every concept. Personal space? Relative. Clothing? Misinterpreted. Couch? Hunting ground. My lap? A ceremonial throne. She suddenly stood, ears twitching. Let us practice the arm's length rule. I will measure again. No, we already did that, I said. It's fine. But fine is subjective, she replied, moving so close that the tip of her tail brushed my leg. I froze. Tail back. It is only testing proximity, she said, entirely serious. If I sit on your lap gently, am I still within safe boundaries? No. Absolutely not. She frowned. I wish to obey human rules. Then don't do the thing I explicitly said not to do. Her tail flicked with a sort of mischievous calculation. I will respect your directives with modifications for safety. Gently. I groaned. Gently is not the point. She clapped her hands and said, Next lesson, hygiene. Humans clean themselves daily, yes. Yes, showers, teeth, all of it, I said. She nodded solemnly. We will observe proper routines. She grabbed a toothbrush. I have seen humans perform this ceremony while singing. Is it necessary to vocalize? No. Do not sing while brushing your teeth. Silent brushing. Efficient. I understand. She paused. Do you wish me to brush your teeth as a demonstration? I blinked. What? Absolutely not. Only for research. Purely clinical. I leaned back, exhausted, and realized every object, every action, every small behavior was now a teaching moment. She was determined to absorb it all. And she was doing it her way, chaotic, overenthusiastic, and full of accidental double meanings. She picked up a notebook and began scribbling furiously. I am documenting human rule methodology. Example: do not touch shoes. Exception: research sniffing approved with permission. I snatched the notebook. That's not approved. But you said research. This is obeying the rules. No. She sighed. Humans are difficult, yet fascinating. I attempted a new strategy, visual demonstrations. I drew diagrams on paper. Couch equals sit. Lap equals do not sit. Shoes equals do not sniff. She stared at the diagrams, tilted her head, and said, Interpretation is key. Couch can be a hunting platform, lap can be a safety test, shoes, aromatic sensors. I quit. Undeterred, she jumped onto the couch with feline grace. Now, let us rehearse proper human sitting postures. You show me first. I sat, stiffly. She mirrored me, crouching lightly beside me. Yes, this is correct. Alignment is essential. Now, hand positioning. Hand positioning? Yes. Human rules dictate hand placement. Proper hand usage is crucial for dominance hierarchy. I observed your neighbor. He gestures frequently. That's not dominance. That's gesturing. She nodded seriously. Gesturing hierarchy. I see. We must practice. She raised her hand, pointed to a pillow, then to my shoes, then back at me. Observe proper hierarchy. I gave up entirely. She clapped, tail flicking. Lesson 4. Food etiquette. Humans consume sustenance. Tell me what is allowed and forbidden. I listed the rules. No stealing, don't touch, wash hands, use utensils. She furrowed her brow. But utensils limit natural instincts. My clan uses claws for eating. Adaptation improves efficiency. No claws. Perhaps gloves. Absolutely not. She twirled the hoodie around her shoulders again. Then I will study your method. Observation is best practice. By now, I realized she had turned everything into a cultural experiment. Measuring, sniffing, gentle invasions of my personal space, selective clothing borrowing, lap tests, tail proximity, and highly suspicious interpretations of what I considered mundane. she suddenly exclaimed. I have mastered a new rule. If you protest strongly, it implies importance. I will honor this rule. No lap, no shoes, no clothing misappropriation, unless scientifically required. No. Stop using scientifically required as a loophole. Her ears twitched. Humans use loopholes. This is efficient. Somewhere across the hall, a door slammed. I could practically hear the neighbors whispering about us. Every word she spoke sounded scandalous to outsiders, though everything she said was innocent by her cultural standards. She stretched languidly. Human rules are intricate. I appreciate their depth. Your patience is admirable. It's not patience. It's fear. Pure existential fear. She smiled knowingly. I sense learning is occurring. Slowly. Very slowly. But every step is progress. I sank into the couch. My life had become a series of lectures, demonstrations, and double-meaning interactions I could never explain. And yet, in her alien logic, she was obedient. She was learning. She was committed. Every chaotic action, every misunderstanding, every accidental scandalous interpretation was part of her education in human behavior. By the end of the morning, I realized one indisputable truth. Teaching a fox girl human rules was like trying to teach a hurricane to behave politely. But I couldn't stop her. And apparently I wouldn't survive trying. By midweek, the entire building had formed opinions about us. Apparently, a fox girl roommate who referred to shirts as affection tokens and furniture as hunting platforms was prime gossip material. I tried to leave for work discreetly, but every hallway glance felt like an accusation. She followed behind me, ears alert, tail swishing with purpose. Observe, human. They judge your behavior constantly. Do they approve? They don't care, I muttered. They whisper, she insisted. I can sense it in vibrations. Human subtlety is weak. I will protect your reputation. Your idea of protection is what got us into this mess, I whispered. She tilted her head. Then we must escalate. Show them I follow your rules perfectly. I groaned. Later, I returned to find her arranging the living room with dramatic precision. Pillows aligned like ceremonial markers, a blanket spread on the couch, the hoodie she had borrowed neatly folded and placed at center stage. She surveyed it all and nodded. Perfect. Humans value symmetry and careful presentation. This demonstrates adherence to your rules. I raised a hand. No, it's not a ceremony. Ceremony, she corrected. Humans appreciate visual cues. Proper alignment reassures observers. I blinked. Observers. Of course. She was turning everyday objects into public statements of compliance. Then she spotted the neighbor across the hall watching through the window. Ah. Audience present. Must showcase rule mastery. She picked up the hoodie, draped it over her shoulders, and posed. Observe proper use of garments, dear human. I slammed the curtains. No. Too late, she said. They witnessed obedience. Or did they witness affection? I could feel the hallway gossip solidifying into a full-blown narrative. The next day, she decided to improve her understanding of human bonding rituals by mimicking interactions she'd observed in rom-coms. She leaned on my shoulder during breakfast. This is the human gesture of comfort and companionship, correct? No. Do not lean on me. But comfort gestures reinforce rules. I am learning. I sighed. Every movement, every word, every gesture became a trap of misinterpretation. She folded her tail neatly beside her, as if this alone elevated the act to ceremonial perfection. Then came the clothing incident. She walked past me, wearing my bright green hoodie, a mischievous grin on her face. I honor your human ritual of garment sharing. Observe proper procedure, gentle borrowing with consent. You don't have consent, I shouted. But it is research. You will forgive me for the sake of understanding human hierarchy and emotional bonding. Somewhere down the hall, the neighbor coughed audibly. I clenched my fist. I could already hear the stories forming. Fox girl roommate flirts openly. Human is compliant. Bed sharing imminent. She noticed my panic. Are these humans, concerned for your well-being? Yes, I admitted miserably. They misinterpret intentions. I will teach them clarity. This is my duty as a responsible guardian. I sank onto the couch. Guardian. Sure. That made me sound heroic in the worst possible way. She crouched beside me, ears perked, tail flicking. Now, about meals. Humans eat with utensils. You have rules about portioning, chewing, timing. I must master these, yes. Yes. But do not eat from my plate without asking. Request protocol understood, she said. She picked up a fork and stabbed a carrot. Do humans expect tasting for verification? No. Not tasting. Perhaps a demonstration is required. I will show proper chewing and swallowing technique while maintaining decorum. You do not need to demonstrate anything. Demonstration ensures understanding. Everyone will see correct method. No misinterpretation. I felt a neighbor's gaze drilling through the wall. This was exactly what I had feared. She misinterpreted normal human behavior as a ceremonial performance. Later, she wandered into my workspace, pawing through papers. These are your thoughts? Humans document rules with symbols. Yes. They are documents. You must allow me to read and understand. Observation is critical. Fine, I muttered, but do not touch anything else. She sat cross-legged on my desk, flipping pages delicately with a single finger. Rules of hygiene, personal space, sleep, clothing, gestures, fascinating. I am learning the hierarchy of objects and humans' emotional response to them. You're taking notes? Yes. Also diagrams. I looked down at the floor. The diagrams were crude stick figures, but somehow, every line implied questionable interpretations of human intimacy. I swallowed. These diagrams are okay, I guess. Very well. Now for observation protocol. I will sit nearby while you perform daily routines. This improves my comprehension. No. Not like that. I will be discreet, she promised, curling up like a furry pillow. Humans appreciate subtlety in observation. I will not interfere. Within an hour, I realized subtlety was her subjective interpretation. She had moved from observing to participating in a controlled manner. She patted my lap as if confirming stability, smiled, and muttered, "You are safe. No rules broken yet." I sighed. Every object, every glance, every minor gesture was now a potential rule compliance demonstration. Every double meaning escalated the gossip. She was a walking, tail-flicking, green hoodie-wearing scandal in motion. By evening, she announced a human rules ceremony to the neighbors. She lined up cushions, placed the hoodie at the center, and presented herself with the seriousness of a diplomat. I begged her, "Do not, please, it's unnecessary. They will understand. Humans need visual clarity." The doorbell rang. I knew the neighbors were about to witness this mess. She beamed. "Prepare for demonstration." I closed my eyes and prayed. When she opened the door, she greeted the neighbors with perfect courtesy. Observe the adherence to rules. No lap sitting without consent, no tail intrusion, no clothing misappropriation, except for approved research purposes. I groaned. Research purposes. Everything she did fell under research purposes. The neighbors murmured. I could feel the judgment radiating through walls. She smiled sweetly. "Fear not. I honor human boundaries with slight interpretive flexibility." I sank into the couch and realized this entire building now had its own mythology about me and my fox girl roommate. Every innocent action she took was evidence of forbidden intimacy. I had become an unwitting celebrity, the human at the center of a scandal he did not consent to. And yet, she had a serious, almost heroic sincerity. She believed she was doing the right thing. Every misunderstanding, every accidental double meaning, every exaggerated gesture was part of her noble attempt to understand humans. By the end of the day, I knew one thing for certain. This was only going to escalate, and my human logic was powerless against her alien, tail-flicking sense of duty. I would survive, barely, by staying vigilant, prepared for any future rule demonstration that could potentially involve the entire building. She woke me up with a tap on the shoulder, tail flicking like a metronome of impending chaos. "Human," she whispered conspiratorially, "today I will demonstrate complete mastery of your rules." I sat up groaning. Mastery? After everything we've survived this week? "Yes," she said with unwavering confidence. "You will see my ultimate comprehension." She had transformed the apartment into what she proudly called the human ritual chamber. Pillows arranged symmetrically, the green hoodie placed in a central position, and various household objects aligned with painstaking precision. She even tied a ribbon around the doorknob. "Symbolizes protection of territory," she explained. I stared. This isn't a ritual. To outsiders, it may appear ceremonial, but humans value perception. Correct display reassures observers. Efficient rule compliance is my objective. I groaned again. The neighbor across the hall had already pressed an ear to the wall. Of course. She beckoned me to sit on the couch. "Observe my adherence demonstration." I complied reluctantly. She crouched beside me with tail curled neatly, ears tilted attentively, and her paws carefully positioned. Humans often lean for comfort. "I shall do so minimally to avoid misinterpretation," she explained. Then, without warning, she draped my hoodie around her shoulders. "Garment sharing, gentle demonstration, purely procedural," she said. I blinked. I said no. "You are bending every rule. But only in ways I have calculated to honor you and educate observers," she replied. I sank deeper into the couch, defeated. Then came the centerpiece of her demonstration. She had written a list titled Human Preferences and Proper Compliance. Each bullet point was a misinterpreted rule. Soft fabrics, steady eye contact, warm lap sessions, clothing borrowing for ceremonial purposes. I shivered. Somewhere between innocence and scandal, she had created a blueprint for misunderstanding. "Observe," she said. All rules followed. No deviations. Compliance verified. I tried to protest, but she pointed a finger at me. "Silence, human. Efficiency requires clarity." The neighbors, naturally, had arrived at the door to witness this performance. She greeted them with the utmost formality. "I demonstrate correct adherence to human rules. No lap sitting without permission, no tail interference, no unauthorized clothing usage, except for approved research purposes," she said, bowing elegantly. I felt my soul retreat into the couch. Approved research purposes. Everything was under the guise of research purposes. Even her purring noise now sounded like a scholarly annotation. She turned to me, earnest and proud. "See? Observers understand. Rule mastery is visible. Your reputation is secure." I wanted to shout, but she interrupted with another proclamation. "And yet, human logic is fragile. I have interpreted intent correctly. Any miscommunication is their misunderstanding, not failure of compliance." Somehow, she had managed to spin the chaos into an art form. I could see the neighbors whispering furiously. Some nodded, some looked scandalized. She misinterpreted the scandalized looks as awe. "Now," she said, eyes bright, "for final verification. I will demonstrate daily human routine. Observe my meticulous approach." She went through hand-washing with exaggerated precision, using the correct number of strokes and pauses, following my instructions like a military drill. Then she prepared a meal with proper utensils, neatly portioned on separate plates, tasting each component scientifically. "Efficiency and hygiene respected," she said proudly. I had to admit it was impressive, if terrifying. Then she turned to me, tail swishing dangerously close to my lap. "And now, communication. Humans value discussion. Clarity ensures harmony. I will ask questions to verify understanding." "Go ahead," I muttered. Do you consider lap sitting necessary for learning human rules? No. Is clothing borrowing acceptable without verbal consent? Absolutely not. Then may I borrow a shirt as an educational demonstration? No. She nodded solemnly. Understood. We shall proceed with verbal demonstration only. A part of me realized she had actually learned something. Not every nuance, not the cultural subtleties, but she respected boundaries when I explicitly stated them. That counted. In her alien logic, this was progress. She paused dramatically. Human rules are intricate. I have mastered the principle that boundaries exist and must be honored when stated clearly. I will continue to observe, but I will no longer misapply actions intentionally. I exhaled. Finally, a truce. And, she added mischievously, tail curling, I may still request permission for shirt borrowing. Purely educational, naturally. I groaned audibly. Old habits died hard, apparently. Then came the final twist. She had prepared a small gift, a neatly folded scarf, a token of respect in her alien culture. For you, human. Symbolizes gratitude for teaching and patience. I stared. This was genuinely thoughtful, and I had to admit, it made me laugh despite myself. She tilted her head, ears twitching. Is laughter a positive response? Yes, I said. Very positive. She purred softly. Then success achieved. Observation, comprehension, respect, and minor amusement. All human rules applied, more or less. I sank back, finally relieved. The chaos of the week condensed into a single moment. She had tried, she had learned, she had misinterpreted everything in the most scandalously innocent way imaginable, and yet I survived. She curled up beside me, tail draping over my legs carefully, not touching excessively, just enough to remind me she was present. I am proud. You are safe. Observers see harmony. Safe, I repeated. Yes, mostly. Mostly is sufficient for now. We shall continue gradual assimilation. I laughed, a low, exhausted sound. Fine. Gradual assimilation. But no more neighbor performances. She nodded sagely. Agreed. Discretion now prioritized. Except for educational demonstrations with explicit consent. I closed my eyes, finally at peace. The building might still gossip, the hoodie might still disappear temporarily, and my lap might still be in danger, but one truth remained. She was learning, I was surviving, and the absurdity of alien-human cohabitation had reached its first, chaotic, hilarious truce. And as her ears twitched softly in satisfaction, tail flicking like punctuation, I realized something even more terrifying. I was already bracing myself for tomorrow's new lesson. But for now I was alive, mostly sane, and oddly entertained.